Hi and welcome back. Now in this video, we are going to look at how to use the Elastic Beanstalk service for managing blue-green deployments. So there is already a feature which is built into the Elastic Beanstalk service, and we're going to see this in our demo. So this is known as a swap environment URL feature. Using this feature, you can actually switch the CNAME of the underlying environments that you define in Elastic Beanstalk. Once you do this, you should only delete the old environment once all the DNS changes have been replicated. So ensure that only once all the requests are going on to the new environment, then you start deletion of your old environment. From a diagram point of view, let's say you have Elastic Beanstalk, you have two environments. One is your current production and the other is your development, which might go into production. You can then use the URL feature or the swap feature for Elastic Beanstalk. Now you already will have one URL for your environment. When you do the swap URL, the production environment URL will be swapped with the development and vice versa. And you're going to get a better understanding when we actually do a demo. So in our demo, we're going to define two environments in Elastic Beanstalk. And then finally, we are going to do a swap URL and see what effect it has in changing these environments. So now let's move on to the AWS console and see how we can work with Elastic Beanstalk. So here we are back in the AWS console. Now the Elastic Beanstalk service is under all services. So let's go into Elastic Beanstalk. Now what I've done is that I've already gone ahead and created an application. It's just a very simple process. What's important is the creation of the environment. So let's go on to actions. Let's create a new environment. Let's choose a web server environment. Let's give the environment name. We can actually leave it as demo app env. And just put a dev so that we know that it's the develop environment. We can put the same as the domain name. Let's check the availability. So it is available. We can choose a pre-configured platform. So for this, let's choose the .NET Windows IS. Let's leave the sample application and let's go ahead and create the environment. Now what this is going to do is that there's a lot of work going in the background. So it's creating the EC2 instance, it's creating an auto-scaling group, it's creating an ELB. It's doing a lot of stuff behind in the background. Let's leave this as it is. Let's go back to our demo app. Let's go on to actions. Let's create another environment. Let's again choose a web server environment. And this time let's put as prod. We can put the same name as the domain name. Let's check the availability. It's there. This time for the pre-configured platform, let's choose something else. So let's choose Tomcat. Let's leave the sample application. Let's go ahead and create the environment. Right, so now we have two environments which are currently being deployed. So one is our development environment, one is a production environment. And let's assume, let's say the environment production is the one that's currently for the users and the dev one is the one which has to be promoted. Let's come back once both of these environments are in the running state. So now what we have is that we have our dev environment which is already spun up. If you want, you can go to the URL. So in the URL, you will see the home page for your .NET application. Similarly, when you go to your production environment and you go to the URL, you will get the home page for the Tomcat-based application. Right, so let's do a swap URL. So you can go to the prod environment. So let's say you want to swap the URL with the dev environment. You simply go onto the environment, you go to actions, you click on swap URLs, you click on the environment you want to swap with, so our dev environment, and simply create or click on swap. So now the URLs in the background are being swapped. So if you have Route 53 that's actually pointing to your production environment, when you go to your domain name in Route 53, it should now point to your dev environment. So now if you go to the home page for your production environment and you refresh it, so this will take some time. Let's come back once the refresh is done in DNS. So now when you come back to your prod environment, you will now see it running the .NET version. And I've opened the dev environment in another IE browser. So over here, you can see the Tomcat version running. So what you've done is that successfully Elastic Beanstalk has swapped the URLs from behind. So now you have, your prod working in dev and dev working in prod. So this is how easy it is to swap URLs using Elastic Beanstalk. Now that we're done with this section, let's move on to the next section in our course, which is continuous integration.